Welcome back to Thoughts of Ascendance of a Bookworm. Today is episode 4, Forests and Clay Tablets. The episode starts with the family around the table, and we see some bread, some soup, some water, some chicken. It looks nice, but it's nice to see that they use wooden cutlery and dishes. I think this likely reinforces the idea that Myne's family is poor, since wooden equipment could easily be carved, unlike glass items. We then see Myne looking smug as she admits to making this tasty but unusual meal. I understand why she's smug, because apparently the food isn't the best in this world, but her smugness is a little bit too smug if you ask me. We see that Myne cooked using methods from our world, like making a vegetable stock to flavour the soup, which has Effa being skeptical. And now I'm starting to think that the people of this world don't know how to use food very well whatsoever. I mean, they discarded paru pulp despite it being good. They don't get the flavours from vegetable water. So I think they could use some lessons, because they've clearly not experimented very well. But Myne's family is so impressed with her cooking that they claim she could become a chef when she is older, to which she starts to panic. It would really suck if cooking took her away from her books. Myne then declares her intentions to go to the forest, to which she is laughed at. I mean, this girl can barely make it down the steps, let alone walk beyond the gates to the forest. They laugh it off because they were talking about work, but when Myne mentions writing, it's interesting that Gunter is the only one who starts looking more serious, likely because he's the only one who truly understands the value of writing in this world. But then Thule shuts Myne down by commenting on her physical weakness compared to everyone else. Myne tries to fight this by saying she can make it to the well without being out of breath now, which, don't get me wrong, is a serious improvement from previous efforts we've seen, but we were shown back in episode 1 that the well is just outside of the building, so not that great considering how much further the forest is. And rightfully so, Thule insists that Myne wouldn't be able to make it, to which her parents support her assessment. In response, Myne asks what she can do to prove she is ready, and Gunter says she needs to build up her stamina. Skyline shot, and we learn that Myne can only yearn for books more whilst she can't go to the forest. But then, she receives an offer to become Otto's assistant, since her maths proved so useful last time. We then get a bit of world building, learning that it is illegal for unbaptized children to work, which I think was already pretty obvious since they do domestic work before their baptism, as we've been seeing, and then apprenticeships afterwards. But Gunter and Otto have thought up a workaround to this, by paying her with slate pencils and having her go under the guise of learning to read and write. And it's nice to see that Gunter has gone past his jealousy of Otto, probably accepting that Otto offers great opportunities to him, ones that he can't. Gunter then tells Myne that she could become a scrivener, someone who writes legal documents, as it isn't physically demanding. He then informs us that Otto used to be a travelling merchant before he was a soldier, which explains why he is capable of writing well, unlike most other soldiers. Because he still has connections to merchants, Gunter says that she should maintain a good relationship with him. You do have to love some networking at the ripe old age of 5. We are then told that Otto is still a businessman at heart, before finding out that once Myne can walk to the gate whilst keeping up with the other kids, she can finally go to the forest. We are then shown Myne's first attempt at walking to the gate, where she walks halfway before needing to be carried by Gunter. At the gate, Otto introduces Myne to her classmates, and tells them not to mess with her before we get a writing lesson. Otto informs us that the basic alphabet consists of 35 letters, and we can notice that a lot of them look like modified English letters, although English only has 26 letters, leaving 9 unknown. Myne easily writes out the characters, whilst we see the boys struggle, and this leads her to suggest a change of subject to bring back their attention. I know Myne has the right ideas, but usurping control of Otto's class like that is just wild. Poor Otto must be feeling kind of useless right now. Myne even ends the day by letting the boys go, and although Otto thinks she's being too easy on them, Myne claims the punishment for failure will be severe. This assures Otto, and he goes on to teach Myne how to use letters in practice. Myne gets so excited by this as she starts dancing and even switches to calling letters letra, which is Spanish. We then get a skyline shot and see Myne walking home with the others, and she almost immediately shares with Lutz that she was doing paperwork, but she manages to recover by saying she's learning to write and read. She then monologues about the value of being able to write in this world, all whilst ignoring Lutz's numerous questions, the poor guy. But we are shown that Myne is walking too slow, and so the older kids have walked off. However, Lutz is still that great guy he is, staying with Myne and encouraging her to take her time. Myne then shares with us her walking journey, slowly being able to commute more consecutive days before being bedridden, before she finally made it to 5 straight days. It's also nice to see in this montage how Myne's teaching methods worked and the boys at the gate were doing well in their classes. But we find out that as soon as Myne got permission to go to the forest, she unfortunately came down with a fever. Aoife then tells a story about the stars in the sky, to which Myne states that the first story she heard after coming to this world was this one. Upon revealing that after commuting to the gate, she was finally able to go to the forest at the start of summer, 3 months later, we reach the midpoint of the episode. Returning to the episode, we see that Myne has finally made it to the forest, and let me congratulate her real quick. She worked hard to make it that far, so well done to her. And we can see that as soon as she's alone, she immediately starts digging for clay. But then Lutz shows up, sounding pretty angry to be honest, because she straight up lied to Gunther about resting when she got to the forest. And Lutz correctly points out that Myne bringing a shovel proves she had no intention of keeping her word. And although we understand that Myne has been waiting for this moment for months, we can all agree that she shouldn't just lie to her friends and family the way she did, just purely on moral grounds. I like Lutz's emotion here. He's angry both out of concern for Myne's health, as well as a feeling of disappointment. He didn't think Myne was the type of person to lie like that. But Lutz, as we will continue to see, doesn't stay angry for long. He will shout at Myne when need be, but he always tries to understand her and help her afterwards. After Lutz explains to Myne that he's helping her like he said he would, as thanks for the power cakes, Myne looks a little down, and I think this is because she feels guilty about lying when she's with such an honest person. But once Lutz finds some clay, she immediately brightens up and claims it would have taken her days to get that much soil. After shaping the clay into a tablet, Myne then writes on it. I tried to decipher it, and it means nothing unfortunately. But Myne then explains to Lutz why books are great, as they preserve events, thoughts and ideas for people to access. They are a gateway into multiple lives and views, and span across time. When Lutz then goes to get more firewood, we see Myne has been hard at work writing on clay tablets. Myne then comments that she made more than she thought, and she hopes that they're dry so that the tablets hold their shape and the pink-haired one and the irrelevant one showed us that the tablets weren't very secure, I guess, by using them as jumping pads. Myne is naturally upset by this and falls to her knees, but it's clear that the pink-haired one and the no-named guy sincerely didn't know that the tablets were important to Myne, as they look shocked and confused when Myne blames them for her sorrow. But now here's a big moment. Myne is so angry that her eyes go rainbow and she gets a glowing aura around her. She's gone Super Saiyan, she's that enraged. And the reaction from the two boys suggests that they can see this aura and change in her, as they look genuinely frightened. Myne then says she will never forgive them, as they ruined all of the effort she went through. So what is this aura? The short answer is magic, but I won't spoil the details just yet. For now you can think of it kind of like Mob from Mob Psycho, where her power will explode when her emotions reach an extreme state. But when Lutz and Tully tell Myne to calm down and that she knows the boys didn't do it to hurt her, the aura fades and her eyes return to their normal colour. We then see Lutz empathise with Myne, saying he understands why Myne is so upset. And this is why Lutz is characterised so well. He will tell Myne when she's wrong, but by not rejecting her actions and feelings, and instead validating them, he helps Myne to adjust to this world whilst also feeling welcome and understood. This is the episode which really shows us that Lutz is an essential emotional and physical support for Myne. But we then see that Myne is desperately trying to get more clay soil, to which Lutz tells the others to help find some and remake the tablets. And that's what they do. But then Myne gets another bad fever, and we are told that it rained constantly. When they finally return to the forest, we see that the rain didn't do much good for the clay tablets, as they are now mush, to which Myne gets understandably upset. But Lutz shows his importance once again, as he tells Myne that if she has the time to cry, she has the time to try again, and we see how much he motivates Myne to continue working. Asks Myne if once tablet production is back underway, Lutz asks if this is what Myne wants to do with her life, to which she replies, not quite. Like we discussed in the last episode, clay tablets are hardly books, so Myne still has some work to do. We then find out about Lutz's dream to travel to other cities, and he intends to do this by becoming a travelling trader. As Myne says, his idea sounds good, but it would also be hard for someone like Lutz to achieve, as he wouldn't have anyone to refer him, as we are told is needed to join a career. His reaction to Myne is also interesting, as he appears surprised by her response, likely because he has only been told his dream is unrealistic or foolish before. And the tablets are done. Not a book though, it just isn't. It is a story though in written form, so a massive step forward. Myne then tells us that the story she wrote is the one about the little stars that Effa told her earlier in the episode, because it is the earliest one she can remember. It's a nice choice and shows us that Myne has connected with her new family, as this story was the first thing to come to her mind, despite her finding Effa oppressive at first. And now that Myne has connections, and has been able to start writing stories, she says she's happy. So she just has one step left now, to make sure they don't get squashed again, and that is to bake them. That didn't quite go to plan, and instead caused an explosion. This could have been for a few reasons, like the tablets not having dried completely, or being put straight in the oven and facing too drastic of a temperature change. But regardless of the reason, it was a failure, and so Myne's gonna have to find a different method. This episode's chibi segment is a funny one, with Myne unsure of what to do next, probably because she's been going further and further back, and so without anything older than the Mesopotamians, she's stumped. As a result of not knowing what to do, Myne quickly changes the subject to say Thule's baptism will be next, and upon hearing this, our heavenly head priest descends, only to be told he will have no screen time and is shooed away. And then Thule ends the funniest chibi section so far by telling Myne not to talk to weird strangers. But with that, the episode ends. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Please leave your thoughts below. Bye!